Hello everyone, Seraphin here. Thank you for joining me again on Fire Emblem Blazing Sword. When we last left our heroes, we successfully defended a merchant from being attacked by barbarians. That would be our friend Merlinus, the peddler as it says here, and he is now a member of our party, so I will get to show you all of what that means right now with Chapter 14, False Friends. A droll merchant. Not sure what that word even means, to be honest with you. So now we get to head out further into Laos, and you can see there's more of the Lycian territories further to the west of there. Regrettably, we don't get to do a whole lot in any of those, if anything. There's maybe about a dozen or so territories in Lycia, but we only visit maybe 4 or 5 of them. So Lord Darren is the Marquis of Laos, and he is a power-hungry jerk. Kind of like that Lundgren dude that we took down. There is war preparations going on all over the territory, from what it sounds like. And that's the last place that Elowood's father was seen, according to the Marquis of Santaruz. So there's some sort of conspiracy starting to unravel here, it seems. So that is why we're heading there. Now, this particular chapter is going to get a little long, so what I probably will end up doing is cutting it into 2 parts. Simply because this interlude part is very long, and so are a lot of the things that I still have to show you yet, so it's also a pretty long chapter. So this is Lord Darren, and this is his son Eric. He is every bit the same level of jerk that his dad is. And here we have that Ephidel guy again. Don't be coy. You obviously didn't kill him immediately on purpose. Addle-padded. It's a very interesting word also. It's what I love so much about the dialogue, is you learn so many cool words. He's so naive. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. The guy has a massive nose, I just realized. And he just looks like a schmuck. He has a very punchable face. This Eric guy here. That Claude Elowood and I. My honor student's smarter than you. Yeah, okay. Oh boy. You know, it's always a very interesting thought. He's actually expounding upon a thing that they don't touch on very often in, like, not just games, but military, like films or book, anything. Like, the effects that it has on the common people, not just the people that are in the middle of the war. What happens to the citizens that are involved in these wars? It's something you don't touch on very often. Buffoon. How awesome would it be if you actually got mounted Hector? I mean, come on. Eric is that guy that you like went to high school with that was a jerk to you the entire time, and then you meet up later, like 10 years later, and he pretends you were best friends. Can't stand people like that. I had a few people try to become friends with me after we were done with high school, and they're just as big of jerks now as they were then. Go figure. Sadly, Ellawood is not an idiot. Why would you spill your guts like that? Like, that's so dumb. Smug and stupid. Not a great combination. This mongrel. An unending torrent of soldiers. Laos's elite knights. Well, if that's all they have, it's going to be really sad. Craven Cur. I love it. Best insult in Middle Ages. Now, who's this? Some creepy old lady. Looks exactly like the lady that gave us that mine. Her hair actually makes me kind of reminds me of Kreia from KOTOR. But she's not a Jedi, so. Wow, he really is kind of a jerk. Her name is Hannah, and she's a fortune teller. So, this is something she's talking about now. She will do an augury for you and kind of explain what you're going to be up against in the battle ahead. And unfortunately, it's not useful, really, because if you just view the map and look at the enemy units, you can kind of get an idea for what you're going to be up against. And first time I played through this game, I would do the augury every time just to see what was ahead, and so I could make sure I was prepared, and it really didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. And here we have Merlinus telling us that he's a merchant. So now... Oh, one second. That's the other thing, too, is not only does she give you this useless information, but she makes you pay for it. So, at any rate, now what we have is a caravan. That's what Merlinus serves a role of. So, in addition to trading items between all of our guys, we can transfer things into our storage caravan that we don't need. So, I'm just going to offload stuff from people who I'm not going to be using. Definitely get rid of that killing edge because that's very valuable. You know, I think I'm just going to give everything and start over because I like to do this when I've got a bunch of people with a bunch of equipment that I need to manage, just so I can start fresh and get an idea of what all I have. So let's pick who I'm going to deploy first of all. We're not bringing Barter, we're not bringing Lo, we're not bringing Marcus. And we definitely probably shouldn't bring Guy either, if I'm being honest. We need Matthew in case we need to steal stuff. Yeah, we can do it with just 7 people, that's fine. I'm kind of handicapping myself a little bit, I get it, but, you know, if I'm not going to be training these people, there's not really any point in bringing them. So, if you go decide to do this and it's your first time, I recommend bringing people just in case you need some backup. 3-use sword. Well, you know, I might as well take it just because I don't want to... It's better to use up your weapons rather than sell them when they've got a few uses left, because recouping the money is only half of it anyway. You might as well get a couple extra uses out of what you have. So all of Ella would take his rapier and his iron sword. And Rebecca just needs her bow, which is getting a little bit low. I didn't even realize. Holy smokes. Definitely need to pick her up another one of those. There is an armory on this map and a shop, so I can re-equip as I need to. Hector will take his wolf bale. You know... No, I don't want to... Man, I need more axes. I think I'm going to let Hector take a break a little bit. I don't want to get him too high level, because then he'll just outclass everybody. He'll be my resident mounted armor, or mounted guy killer with his wolf bale there. And my current axe guy will be Dorcas for now. And Sarah is my only healer, so that's very important. Osmond doesn't really need a vulnerary because he's so bloody tanky he won't get hurt. And that just leaves Matthew. He'll take a sword just for the kicks and a lockpick. I suppose Hector needs that more than Matthew does. I want to have room for Matthew to steal stuff. Alright, so what are we low on? We need another iron axe. We could use another sword at least. We need another bow. I've got a couple of things in waiting in case I need them. Should probably use these up at some point in the near future too, but I can't decide who to give them to yet, so we'll come to that later on. So I'll show you the fortune window here. We've got the rank, the tactician, and we have the augury. So the rank... Wow, that's pretty good. So you'll see here, this is my tactician ranking. And there's 5 different areas that they focus on for performance. Tactics is how many turns you take to finish a map. So the longer you take to complete or clear a map, the lower your tactic score will be. Mine usually isn't all that high. I think my record is 3 stars, honestly. There is a pre-programmed limit of how many turns each chapter should take you if you want the maximum rank. I tend to go slow and take my time, so I don't normally do very well on that. I don't think that's very fair, honestly, but I can understand why they do it. Survival is if anybody dies, that score goes down. So far I haven't lost anybody. Funds is the total gold and value of all your items that you've accrued. So if you stockpile stuff and you save all your money and be frugal, then this is going to be really good. Experience is how much experience you get through battle. And then combat is how often you defeat foes in battle rather than just wounding them. And I think as long as you have above 40% total battles fought that end with kills, then that'll be 5 stars. And this will change from chapter to chapter. So if a few chapters from now, some of those stars might go down, some of them might go up. And the more stars I have, I think as long as I have at least 10, then I get what's called the tactician bonus. And any unit on the board that matches my tactician affinity, which is fire, will get an extra 10% avoid and 10% accuracy for the whole game, which is kind of awesome. And then, as long as I have at least 10 stars, everybody, all of my units, will get 10% increased critical evade, which is very nice. So you can go and check that every map if you want to from here. That's free. And then we have the tactician here. This just goes over... I lied. So the way that you get those increases with the tactician stars is on the bottom there. So you'll see I have 1 tactician star. And you earn points toward more stars the better you do in each mission. So right now all of my units have 1% critical evade, because 1 star. And anybody with my affinity has 1% accuracy and 1% avoid. And that will go up to 10 stars. And you can check that here. Then you'll also see my affinity there and my name, birth month, which is inconsequential, and so is the gender. And then we have the augury here. I'm going to do it just once so you can see, because it's only $50. So I'm going to pay her price so you can see what this does. Yes, she tells you that many of the guys that you're going to fight have spears, because they're mostly mounted. You can figure that out if you look at the map. So take many, many axes, despite the fact that at this point in the game you only have 3 people, I guess 4 if you count Marcus, that are even capable of using axes. If that shrewish cleric girl is with you, take her as well. Okay, I guess that's one thing you wouldn't have figured out beforehand, but The reason they're telling you to bring that shrewish clerical, that'd be Sarah, is because she will have an opportunity to talk to somebody here. She might well meet an old friend. Yes, that is true. So I guess that's one useful tidbit that you might not have known. The weather doesn't look very good. Oh yeah, so it's gonna rain on this map, which is annoying. You should take a rapier. It will serve you well. Yes, of course. No, I don't need to hear it again. Thank you. So if you're new to this series and you're not quite sure what you should be bringing, or like what units to bring, what weapons, that kind of thing, or you're just not sure what to glean from looking at the map, then that augury is kind of handy. It's not expensive, thankfully. It's usually around 50, 100 gold, depending on the chapter. So it's not that big a deal, but I tend to avoid it just because I've played this game 1,000 times and I know everything. So that's not me tooting my own horn, I promise. It's just I know what I know. So we're going to have Dorcas here to deal with these cavaliers behind us. We are going to have that shrewish cleric woman up here because the person she will meet comes out of this village. Spoiler alert, I know. Hector will be around also to keep her safe because reasons. I can't move Elwood because he's the main character. Matthew can stay where he is. Rebecca can stay where she is. That's good. I'm going to save up again real quick. So I think we're ready to go. So yeah, that already took about 15 minutes to explain all that stuff. So this is definitely going to be a split chapter as far as episodes go. Now here's the last thing. If I can choose to deploy Merlinus' tent on the battlefield. And what that means is, if my people pick up items on the battlefield or I buy things from the shop and they can't carry them, I can have them send those items to Merlinus directly, to my caravan, rather than dropping them. And yeah, the tent can't be moved, and you'll need to guard it because sometimes enemies will go straight for it. Yes, however, Merlinus can't die. So if the tent loses, yeah, here we go. If the tent loses all its HP, it will vanish and is unavailable until the next map. So if your tent gets taken out, then you don't get to send anything to the caravan for the rest of that chapter. And that being said, every battle that Merlinus survives, every map that he survives, he will gain a level and he'll just become harder to hit. He can't fight, obviously he's a tent. So, and there's Urk. That would be the friend that we're supposed to meet. He looks very irked. So we learned that Urk has an employer that he's supposed to meet with. And we won't learn more about that until a little bit from now. But we're going to send Hector out here to clean up this fool here. I lied. I think I'll have Rebecca do it. Like I said, I don't want to give Hector too much experience. I'm going to try to keep the total sum levels of all of my lords below 50 up until a certain point, and there is a reason for that. However, I won't disclose that until a little bit later. It's actually not something that that is recommended to do, to be honest. If you want the better, okay, you know what, I'll just tell you right now. So about 10 or so chapters from now, I think, there you have an option of getting 2 different maps. And the way that it determines what map that you get to go to depends on the total level of all of your main Lord characters, so Elwood, Lyn, and Hector. If the 3 of their levels together is 50 or greater, you will go to the preferable map. And if it's below that, you will go to what is considered the inferior map. And the only reason it's inferior is because, it's an entirely different map, first of all. Not even close to the other one. The boss will be different, and also a potential recruitable character that you will meet on that map will be different also. And the reason why I want to keep my characters sub 50, and my main lords sub 50, is because I want the arguably considered the worst of the 2 recruitable characters. He's still pretty good, but I want him for this playthrough. We're just going to stick Osmond out here and let him go to town on these horses. And I will mop them up with my other guys. There's a lot of horses on this map. And they are not shy about attacking everybody in sight. Oh, jeez. I forgot Rebecca is paper. Thankfully, Elwood with his rapier can make relatively quick work of these cavaliers. And there's an Elwood crit, which looks pretty darn cool if you ask me. Tink! So satisfying. And because Osmond is so slow, he won't double these guys, but he'll put a nice big dent in them for me so that I can mop them up with the rest of my characters. Dorcas puts a sizable dent in these guys. Hopefully he'll get some speed. That would be nice. Doubtful, but at least... Okay, strength and defense. I can make that work. Like I said, Dorcas, I believe, has the lowest speed growth in the game. Tied with Wallace, if I'm not mistaken. The big armored general guy. So, if that's any indication. Oh, actually, Urk is going to come out of nowhere and punch that cavalier with some fire magic. And now what have we here? Priscilla. So this is kind of annoying. Priscilla here is trying to find her... or trying to get out of here, really. Trying to get out of this area. But I guess the Marquis has taken a liking to her and doesn't want her to leave, so he won't allow her to leave and won't allow anyone to help him. Or help her, rather. And these villagers are kind of granting her asylum, but they're not... there's nothing they can do to help. And she's actually... being escorted through here by Urk. Go figure, because he was escorting Sarah last time we saw him. And then you get some insight here, learning that the villagers do not particularly care for the Marquis because he treats them like dirt, and he's a jerkwad. Like I said, a lot of intrigue happening in this particular chapter, so... Alright, so Dorcas will finish that guy off next time he hits him, but I'm going to take out the guy with the javelin first. Now if I use Sarah to talk to Urk... Oh my gosh! Oh, you're the last person I wanted to see. Oh, that's so sweet! Just goes right over her head. He's like, what? Yes, so his employer is actually Priscilla, and he would like us to go help her. So we get Urk again, which is great. And now he has this Thunder Tome instead of his old Fire Tome. Sadly, it is weighing him down just a little bit. Not much, but noticeably so, to the point where he can't quite double these guys, I don't believe. Which is exceedingly annoying. Now we're going to poke that guy with an arrow, and I want to keep Rebecca out of the fray as much as possible, considering she is, once again, paper. And we can have Elwood come over here and dust this guy. And I believe Urk can deal with this... Oh yeah, deal with this archer relatively easily. What's his defense like? 3. That's not fantastic. But I'm going to take out this archer nonetheless. Thunder's a very cool spell. Oh, with the miss? For real? That was a 92% miss, too. That should not have happened. Alright, well, I guess we'll just have Hector finish him off. Whip an axe at his face. And then I want to avoid Hector getting hit as much as possible, so we're just going to dust one of these soldiers with... Holy smokes, he can one-shot these guys with a steel lance. Let's make that happen. Oswin the tank. God, I love using him. So good. So good. He's... actually, Osmond, ironically enough, is regarded as one of the greatest armor knights in the entire franchise. He's just that good. Which is saying something, because there's a lot of armor knights in this franchise that aren't all that good. In fact, most of them really are kind of passable at best. And Osmond just creams everybody. And there's Urk with a crit. The nice thing about the Thunder Tome is it's really good, really decent power. Doesn't weigh a lot, and it's got an inbuilt 5% critical rate, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, a lot of low percentage crits happen. So Eliwood's gonna break his iron sword against this Cavalier. Which is fine, because I got the most out of it. And we have this jerk Cavalier going for my tent. I swear we killed him in Lynn's quest. Yep, so not only do we have all these knights and soldiers and whatnot, but now we have pirates coming out of these forts on the water down here. And these are largely inaccessible because we don't have anybody that can fly or walk over the water. So, very annoying. And Dorcas will clean up these guys. And who do I want to have get the kill on that guy? I think Urk deserves a kill, doesn't he? I do plan on making good use of Urk because he's the only really only potent magic character you get for quite some time. If you remember Lucius, we will be getting him again, as well as another character that uses magic that we haven't met yet. I'll probably use Lucius too, but the thing with Lucius is he's paper thin, even worse than Urk. And his luck is terrible, and he uses light magic, which is good, but it's not as good as elemental magic. So I'd like to have an elemental caster around if I can help it. So we'll probably be taking Urk with us for the foreseeable future. He's not in danger of getting killed or anything. If I have Sarah come back here, she can heal him without getting hurt. I'll have Oswin wait on over here. And Eliwood will hang out in the underbrush there. Now, Eric is... He's pretty average all around. He does have this silver lance, however, which he will drop, and that is an incredibly powerful weapon. We don't want to take one of those to the face, especially not with somebody like Eliwood. But I am going to park Eliwood here on the forest so he's protected, and I will heal him up real quick. Probably safe to move Rebecca now. And Matthew, I'm going to send down this way to go meet with Priscilla and go to these four... Oh, geez, there's an armor knight there. I didn't even see him there. That's going to be a problem. Considering Matthew will only do 1 damage to him. I guess we're going to have Dorcas go with him. It's okay. I want somebody quick and nimble with a sword that can deal with those pirates. I suppose Eliwood could go do it too. I'll have him take out this Cavalier first. And by take out, I of course mean get hit by and not kill in return. Because he's just a little bit too slow. This one, however, different story. Oh, with the 99 experience. Bum. Oh yes, here's Hannah telling us her bones ache, which means it's about to rain. Okay, so we got about half the map cleared up. Got plenty left to do, but there's going to be a long way to go yet. So I think for what I'm going to do for right now is call it and resume this chapter in the next part, just because this one takes a little while, like I said, and I've been explaining a lot. So I'm going to leave it off here for right now, but I will resume next time and finish the rest of this map. So thank you all very much for joining me. I appreciate all of the viewers, and I will see you in the next part where we finish Chapter 14. So until then, thank you all very much. This has been Seraphin. Good evening.